Hello and welcome to Wrestleopinionated. This is our weekly show all about the shows of AEW. We are your hosts. I am Morg and this is...
Tired of wrestling, Matt Strange. And this is...
Less Tam fan, Muir. And this is...
Loving Ito, Zach.
You should have been a waifu. Watch more Joshi wrestling.
Ito is a fine waifu.
No, she's a great one.
If we're gonna go into an ironic waifu discussion, I'm in. But Ito's fine.
How have you all been?
Tired of wrestling and life.
Well,
that got dark quickly.
Last week, I commented on the illness of my iguana, and she's almost better due to a strange set of circumstances. On the one morning, and iguanas can have all manner of shit wrong with them. I was clipped in linked in a video of some people who run a reptile house curing a blocked iguana with vibrators, and you tape them to them, and they have a shake, and it sorts out their insides. And I'm not the kind of person who would own a vibrator. I can't say I'm in a particularly sex toy relationship, but we won't pry into those sides. But I was once last year sent a massage wand by a friend as a joke. So the majority of my week has been spent by putting an iguana in a hot bath and massaging its stomach with a vibrator.
Is this how you expected your life to turn out?
Mate, when I look back from the past of I'll buy an iguana, I didn't think to myself one day I'll be making it shit with a sex toy. It's all a bit 1980s German porn when you think about it.
This is the way your life deserves to be.
This is all the karma.
Welcome to our iguana vibration podcast.
Yeah,
hi there. Again, I was like, I clicked the wrong link.
Sex toys and lizards.
Yeah, they do. Anyone who listens to us regularly is used to this. But
check back next week where I'll be curing a crested gecko with a fleshlight. Sorry.
Right.
So.
Although you want to wrestle it,
you may actually, this could be the first time that you have listened to our podcast, and as such, you would need to know that it's actually about wrestling and not about sex toys and lizards.
I apologise.
Not on my watch, it isn't.
As such, you would need to know we have a tier list, which is how we review the varying matches of Dynamite and the overall shows running in. And Mr. Strange, are you all fired up and ready to explain the tier list?
I am ready. It's a lazy one again due to having spent a week massaging reptiles, but I am ready to explain how a tier list works. You may well know it from certain computer games, YouTube channels. I'm a big fan of Tier Zoo, personally. We work up through letters in a scale. It's not an alphanumerical scale. I keep saying it is, and it just isn't. It's just letters. There's no numbers involved, and I always miss B. Right, so we start off with a D rank match. That's as low as we go on this scale, unless we're really taking the piss. D rank match is a match you just don't care about. Maybe it's a lazy squash, maybe there's no story, maybe it's just shit in the ring. D rank match, can't be bothered with it. Rocking up to a C. A C is what we come to expect from a match. We want good, solid wrestling, good, solid story. We want to care. Sure, you've got a bit of leeway either way, but C is your average good match. From there, we got the B rank match, or match plus one, as it's often known from us. Really tight wrestling. The story fucking matters. Probably in and out. Crisp, good, just better than a solid match. One of those ones where you go, oh yeah, that was really good. That's a B. A rank match is traditionally the top of a weekly show. At least currently, it used to be monthly, but we've got a good wrestling. A has got everything. Great wrestling, great high spots, story in and out, or a story conclusion. The best thing you're going to see in quite a while normally. And at the top of the tree is the S rank match. Super Sugoi. I'm not going to reference Penta and the Black Lotus Triad. Don't worry, boys. Nobody will know it's an S rank match in this description. S rank match has got everything. Blows the fucking paradigm out of the water. Moments that you talk about for ages. You send gifts to your mate. We want strong story. We want good, crisp wrestling. We want somebody to go through the roof of a cage. We want to send gifts to our mates. Every fucking thing, story in and out. So D, shitty. D, good. E, very good. A, amazing. And S, I'm going to tell all my mates about this. That's our tier list. Ba-bow.
There we go. And moving on from there, onto the news. Now, obviously, there has been some AEW news, but in light of being
More on that
careful,
tomorrow.
careful of not spoilering things from Revolution, we have decided we'll keep that to ourselves. I think the main piece of wrestling news is the passing of Jim Crockett Jr., promoter, one of the old school promoters.
The last
Founders of NWA.
Yeah, one of the last NWA mainstays before it shrunk and then became what it is today.
And Billy Coogan bought it.
Yeah.
Oh, bless.
So yes, not a lot in the news. Obviously, that's a very sad and a big tragedy for the world of wrestling. So moving on from there, because we have a lot of wrestling to cover this week.
Fuck, man. So much.
Wrestling.
So we're starting with Stardom, right?
Mr. Strange, social media, what have you got for us?
Oh, mate, I've got two. I've got one good and one really good. So on... What's the music play thing with the green button that we're... Spotify.
Jesus Christ, you boomer.
Hey, I was up to... I listened to it, constantly as well. I was up to, 4 a.m. drinking beers and watching things we'll discuss tomorrow. Leave me alone. On Spotify, Ruckus, the guy who does the music design for AEW, has released the 8-bit AEW album with all of them done in 8-bit MIDI sound file, a bunch of soundtracks in a 8-bit MIDI file sort of style, which I think is pretty fucking cool. Worth a listen to. Whilst you're on Spotify listening to us, obviously. But my personal favourite, also on Spotify and on Anchor FM, who we play for, and on YouTube, is a podcast that was released last week.
I didn't believe this was real when you first told me about this. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's Luther's World of Cryptids, Ghosts, and the Unexplained, which is Luther talking about the supernatural and paranormal things, and a selection of other wrestlers are in it. It's got Baron Black telling a alien encounter story about when he was in the military. Cutie Marshall's there. Austin's there, and it's fucking awful, but it's great at the same time. You can tell they're reading from papers at times. I've never heard Austin Gunn slip on words, but he has to keep going back. Luther's obviously reading from notes, and it's hard. Sometimes I'm reading from this shit, and I'm like, oh, no, gone. It's awful, but in the same way, it's kind of charming and great. You know what I mean?
What pitch is his voice at when he's reading?
Sort of normal. He's not in his full Luther voice.
It hasn't sold it for me.
That's enough for me, dog.
Hey, the missus was asleep on the sofa, so I have to turn the TV down whilst I'm gaming. And I was like, and it popped up on Twitter. Luther was like, I've done a new podcast. And I was like, this seems fucking amazing. And just as a background, hour to 45 minutes, I forget what it was. Bollocks. Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful, clumsy, and kind of genuine. A bit like us, I suppose.
Oh, I get you.
I'm going to say we have got no room to talk.
No, mate, no. But yeah, that's my recommendation.
I'm flawless, thank you, Morg.
Luther's World of Cryptids, Ghosts, and the Unexplained. Well worth a listen if you if you enjoy things. Yeah, basically.
We're going ghost hunting when we can again. What are you guys on about?
Mate, I'd love to go ghost hunting, but that's another topic. We've got so much wrestling.
Podcast on the road, yeah.
So, time to move on to the reviews. So, this week we have made a decision that, and part of this will be shown in this week's reviews. We have decided that from going forward until Standard Dark itself returns back to its original format of being the matches left over with the main stars, that we will not be reviewing Dark. We will just be giving out notes on highlights of things we think you should specifically watch, or bits that actually are important to storyline. That being said, we are going to review Main Dark this week. We are not reviewing Dark 2 that was on Saturday.
Nobody wanted that.
But there is going to be a rant of the week later that I'm going to have based on Dark 2, because we haven't done a rant for a while and there's something that made me angry. So, as always, we kick off with Mr. Muir and BTE being the elite.
So this starts off with Matt in his house, Matt from the box, and basically it flashbacks to the Paul White or the Big Show or the Giant, whatever you want to call him, has been signed. So he gets like post-traumatic stress flashbacks to when he was a jobber in WWE about it. And his kids are quite good in this. I thought his kids were quite good, like saying, "You remember back when you were a jobber?" and all this stuff. And I thought it was pretty good.
His
And
kids
also,
were awesome in this. It was...
Also, the line at the start where he's like, "Not now, kids. I've got 25 dark matches to watch this week," or something like that. And I was just like, "Yeah, Matt, I know your pain."
Does Matt watch as well? Thanks, Matt. Thanks for being a fan of our podcast. You and Nick are pretty cool.
So then we went to Kenny opening some 1991 WCW cards that he got from somewhere. So that lasted for a bit.
No comments. No comments at all.
It was kind of sad, actually, if I'm honest.
What,
It was
just
kinda
these
sad.
these old wrestlers
I'm like,
that are just
rest in
going,
peace, bro. Rest in peace, bro. Rest
Yes,
in
mate.
peace, bro.
Oh, wait till you
Oh.
wait till we make you watch ECW One Night Stand. Trust me, that was not depressing. ECW One Night Stand is depressing. I didn't mind this because it just showed Kenny's nerdy side. But this is, funnily enough, going to come into something I'm going to put in my rant later.
Ooh.
I liked the shoes bits though, because I don't know, he just seemed very genuine when he was very happy that he'd been made into shoes. I don't get their shoe culture. I'm not gonna lie to you, but he seemed genuinely.
I hope nobody ever turns me into shoes.
He
What a
didn't
great
get it
super
either.
villain power.
He was like, I've never really been or owned these kinds of shoes before, but now I'm in them. Like, yeah.
Seemed
It's kind of-
genuine and he seemed dorky because Kenny is a dork and he seemed
Yeah.
happy about it, which it's always nice to see people that are happy. So I enjoyed this. Then we moved on to the Dark Order trying to find Sting by doing his famous call. Thank you. And then they hear Eddie shouting down the corridor at them and like, "Oh, is that Sting?" And then they go talk to Eddie. And he's like, "Oh no, you should be focusing on Hangman. Isn't that what you're meant to be doing at the moment?" And then he comes out with the line of something along the lines of, "This is why this industry's falling down the toilet, because people are trying to kiss each other instead of winning matches." Which made me laugh.
Best Eddie. More on that tomorrow.
Then we got the Cobra Kai shitters, as I've just put in my notes. Does anybody else care about this fight? The fake fighting?
The Cobra Kai thing, yeah, to be fair, I'm quite enjoying it. It's nice and silly. I watched the series and I enjoyed it. And I like old crap kung fu movies, so I'm guessing it kind of appeals to me in that respect. And I like
old crap kung fu movies. I just like them to be good.
I see, that's the point. They don't actually have to be good for me. If they're really bad, that's even better. And this is just an homage to really bad kung fu movies. And I also did like the bit where they kept on getting corrected. He kept on getting corrected every time he tried to say, "And this will be."
Oh.
Then
Watch Snake and Eagle Shadow.
Then we got to Ryzen joining the Vicious Vixens, which got a pop out of me because I fucking
I'm down
love
for this
Ryzen.
combo.
This
if
was
they make
awesome.
this a gimmick.
Priest.
If he's their satanic priest and they carry on this gimmick, I'm down with that. That's fine for me.
Ryzen needs a home. He needs to be appreciated.
Yeah. Then we move. Oh, sorry. Carry on.
So good. Any character where you can see their gimmick instantly and get them. +1.
Perfect.
And great team for him. Cool.
Then we moved on to the final Dark Order bit, I think it was, of this one. Yep. Then they're all asking why people weren't there.
Oh, God, yeah.
10 was stopped at the border for trying to ship drugs in, obviously. Stu won't go out without his makeup on.
You know, his one stripe down the nose.
Mate, we've all been there.
Hey,
We've all not had a-
as an old goth, I totally respect Stu for that.
Uno was unfortunately distracted by Gallows wanking in the fucking bathroom.
Continuity, mate.
Yeah, I love that. I loved it.
Hangman just turns up halfway through this bit and is just hanging when they're mocking Five's dick. And then
Yeah.
Hangman got fucking Anna's approval at the end, which was nice to see, seeing she was against him.
I think we need to point out that Five was naked in a tub of water in the middle of this. That's why they were all laughing at his dick.
Oh yeah, that's it. I forgot why they were. And then obviously they all leave screaming meat, which they've been doing for no apparent reason, which I enjoy now.
This is a chant I can get behind.
Yes,
as
meat.
a fond connoisseur of steaks, I'm up for the chant of meat when leaving places.
Tearing, and I still love it. Oh,
And
God.
then we cut to the hospital where the Good Brothers and what's his name? Fucking Brandon are there. And Brandon's asleep, and the two Good Brothers are obviously talking about what they've done. They've given Papa Buck some Viagra.
Oh God, yeah.
I can't remember the quote about this, but it was something about I learned this from Matt Hardy back when he was on the drugs.
Yeah, before you got clean.
That's it, before I got clean. Fucking brilliant line. They're so carny and I love them. It was a solid BTE. If anyone's got anything else to say about it, I enjoyed it quite a lot because I thought it was quite silly, but it had enough good bits to make it go.
I remember having a good time, but I've seen 10.5 hours wrestling
Yes, mate.
since then.
So
I was reading my notes and I was like, I remember these things.
I'm gonna have to lay a bit of the. I know that it leaves the Raptor cold, and it's starting to. The dick jokes need to go now.
I'm sort of with you, Morg. They could drag it back a little bit. I love the Good Brothers, and I think they're great giant carny kids. But you know, we can have a break. Let them do something else.
The Dark Order bit.
Chad too bad.
Yeah, yes, and the Dark Order bit was a bit went on a bit too long for what was an ongoing dick joke. But apart from that, it was it was still a good BTE, and I still had fun. I still enjoyed it. Scores.
I think I enjoy BTE more than I'm enjoying the wrestling at the minute. That's my main issue.
We showed you Southpaw when we were talking a while back, you know, and that show doesn't have any wrestling, and it's the best wrestling show there is. So you know,
that is true.
The worst bit about a wrestling show is the wrestling.
It's the wrestling. Yeah, exactly.
So scores.
Let's move on to Dark.
So scores.
Oh, I think it's a solid C, high C, but solid C.
A good C. Few things could be rounded out, but I had a good time.
Zach, any dissenting opinions on that?
Yeah, it's a B. I just love it so much. You guys.
More of a character mark than the rest of us, and we're all pretty character marky.
We'll save the women's matches and we'll move on to Dark. Over to you, Zach. This is main Dark.
This is main Dark, and we'll try and get.
I watched this with Zach on the internet because that's what the cool kids do.
On the internet?
Yes,
on the internet.
That was the joke I was going for. I'm sticking with it.
So we start off with Johnson and Solo versus Valley and Peak. So we've got against the Goblins again, which is cool. This match wasn't a high spotty match, but I normally don't really like. But this had great mat work. It was really down and gritty and arm bars and moving around the mat really quickly. It was good. I enjoyed it. There was a Blue Thunder Bomb that looked cool. I give it a C.
Yeah, fair.
Then we move on to two people I hate, Evilise and Diamante. Then after I hate them, I just do. Versus Red Velvet and Kylie King. So we all know who is going to win. There's a really good bit when they were calling out Red Velvet when Kylie was in the ring. They were like, no, go back to the ringside. We don't want you. You're just an add-on. We want the one that everyone cares about, which I kind of enjoyed. And my other note on this was Red Velvet. Am I right? Because she's just a great wrestler.
Yes, mate.
Phenomenal.
Nothing too interesting really happened this match. I give it a low C or a high D, I guess, in the end. but I guess I'm a little bit biased. I don't like Evilisa Diamante. Then we move on. Then we move on to Frago and John Cruz versus Top Flight.
I wonder who's winning this, boys.
Right. I feel so sorry for Fuego at this point in time. He'll get his chance in the sun. I'm sure of it. I'm
He
sure.
will get that DDT off.
I'm sure of it. It's gonna kill QT Marshall, honestly. It was a good match. There was lots of flippy bits. I like flippy things. I give it a C. Wouldn't recommend it, but I give it a C. Then we moved on to the Gun Club versus Tony Vega, Aaron Fire, and Angel Fashion. My notes on this are guns equals funds. I just really enjoyed them. They enjoy doing what they're doing. They enjoy
Yes, mate.
wrestling, and it really comes across when you watch it. And this would probably be one of my recommends of Dark, is to go watch the gunfight, because they're great. There's lots of ridiculous commentary about the guns shooting their fingers at cameras and stuff, and like it's just a fun match. It's
Just
fun.
bollocks. It's great fun.
It's good fun. So I give that
recommend.
one whole recommend, a solid C. Then we move on to one of my favorite female gimmicks and wrestlers, Abaddon versus Renee Michelle. She sells that gimmick so well. I love watching her out on this, and this is another match where Renee Michelle really buys into this idea that Abaddon is a horrible, gribbly monster, and she comes out, she's screaming. There's a unfortunately there's a bit in the middle of the match where there's a bit of a lag on a hit, and it's very
PvP lag.
Yeah, where Renee Michelle is meant to take like I guess a shoulder barge, and it takes a couple seconds for her to realize she's been hit with it and then drop to the floor. But yeah, she's like on it, and she's like getting like pounded, and she's like screaming, "Get out of me! Get out of me!" And like it's like looks genuinely terrified to be in the ring with Abaddon. I give this a high C, just because it was sold so well. And then we move on to my real recommendation of Dark. It all goes down here from here, I guess. Is JD Drake, which is the guy who we commented about last week, being brought in by Eddie Kingston from just a bar down the road or something, versus Stu Grayson. And we don't often get to see Stu Grayson by himself, and he is a fantastic wrestler, and they really got to showcase this. And JD Drake, give him a contract, because he's fantastic. If you want to see a larger man in what is grandma pants, effectively, like be a fantastic wrestler, get down and gritty, sell, throw in some big meaty hooks, like he's great to watch.
Far better than you'd ever expect by looking at him.
100%. Do not judge this book by its cover. He's great to watch. But Grayson was phenomenal. It almost blew my mind, because I don't really get to appreciate him.
He's like mine and Morg's like ultimate underrated wrestler in AEW. We've been like, and Muir as well, not putting him down. But me and Morgan always like the ones like, Grayson doing something ludicrous.
Yeah, man. He really gets to showcase his strength. Yeah, he picks this man up, and if you don't, you probably don't realize how great that is. So you should go watch this match. Go watch this match. It's great. If this was on Dynamite, I wouldn't have complained. It was fun. There was some indie shit in there. It was great. Go watch that match. Then I give it a B, because it deserves it. It's a great match. Then we moved on to my true loves in the AEW at the minute, which are the Acclaimed. They came in with one of their segments of singing and rapping and a bit of shittery here and there. It came in with what was the Acclaimed shop, which is basically like one of those TV advert sale things.
Channel,
for the Dark Order's Kool-Aid, because not a cult. But yeah, they give it to some weedy guy who then turned into 100 with all of the
marks on his chest.
Yeah. It's just hilarious and shitty. Then they ribbed him about his bad knee, and they beat him in push-ups, and they just basically took the piss out of this guy who was obviously meant to be 10 ahead of the 10 match. It was great. Go watch that. It's funny. You will laugh.
Fun.
I put an S next to it because I'm horribly biased. It's good fun. Max Cast is fantastic. Go watch it. It's good fun. Then we moved on to Mbadu and Baron Black. I think that's how you pronounce it.
I love Mbadu.
Yeah.
Mbadu, yeah.
Unfortunately, they were against Bear Country.
Also love Bear Country.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, Bear Country is so good. They did Bear Country things. They picked up horribly heavy people who they shouldn't be able to, and
Lift.
threw them at each other. Any Bear Country match is worth the watch. I wouldn't say I recommend it. It's just another squash match, really. So I can only really give it a high D or low C. But they are great. I love Bear Country, and I want to see more of them.
I think we will.
Then I think so too. I think they're making their way to TV time very soon. Then we moved on to Evil Uno 5 and Cult of the Dark Order versus Shapiro, Skylar, and Ryzen. 5 got his time in the sun in this one. 5 had a great match in this. Uno and Colt doing the general Uno Colt things. Colt had a good laugh, a bit of hip shimmies, a bit of shoulder shimmies, having a good time, enjoying himself, smiling. Uno, being the standard good wrestler that he is, had a good time. The other guys didn't really get much in the way of offense or anything interesting happening.
No.
But I was really happy to see 5 have some push because he deserves it and he gets a hard time on BTE, and I feel sorry for him.
You should actually,
when he
Zach,
arrived.
Yeah, you should actually watch Alan Angels versus Kenny Omega and Alan Angels versus Phoenix, because he just had his name when he first entered,
Yeah.
and those two matches are great.
They are fantastic. The other thing I really like, you just mentioned it about Colt. Do you think Colt fits much more comfortably with the Dark Order now they are just being silly baby faces?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
You can see that
100%,
he's just 100% member of the Dark Order now.
Yeah, but Zach would have missed the point where they were actually like a grumpy, evil cult, and Colt was their friend who they shouted at. Whereas now they've just sort of embraced a group dorkiness, and it's lovely.
Which very much suits Colt. Colt is a phenomenal, not comedy wrestler who is genuinely funny.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I give this a high C, low B. Although it was kind of squashy, like the spotlight that 5 had in it, I think was pushed it. He had fun. Everyone was having fun. Yeah, it was good. Then we move on to Max Caster versus Jj Guerrette, who is the guy with the god awful mullet. Jesus Christ!
Sorry, Platinum Max Caster.
Yeah, he's great. It's a squash match, but it's got Max Caster in it, and he's silly, and he's up to
you
silly.
Fucking
silly
Mark,
shit.
Zach.
He's up to silly shit all the time. I love it. He's super healy, and I like that. I give it a C, not as high as you guys thought I would have given it, but it was a squash match, so I can't really push it too much, if I'm honest. So yeah, and then we moved on to the captain and Carly Bravo, who's a terrible pun on Charlie Bravo. Honestly, I hate that.
Yes.
Versus TH2. My notes for this were meh, boring, meh. So I give it a D. I can't even remember the match, if I'm honest.
No, mate, I can't either, and I watched this with you. No fucking clue, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess TH2 did TH2 things.
TH2 did TH2 things. Nobody can wrestle Angelico properly because they don't know the style, standard TH2 things.
Did they come out with like the money or something? I can't even remember. I don't know. From Matt Hardy.
Move on, Zach. Just go on. Go on,
it was. I couldn't. It was awful.
Whatever.
Then we had. This was awful as well. The Steven Stetson versus OC. And I popped. I didn't pop when I saw there was an OC match because I wasn't expecting it, because I forgot he had some other matches later on in the week. And I was like, oh, OC, I haven't seen him in forever. This will be sick. And it was an OC squash match? And I was like, what? This isn't how OC works.
Yeah, they're a thing now.
He has to keep his points up, Zach. If he doesn't have his magical good boy points, he can't challenge for titles.
He didn't do any of his gimmick. He didn't do any of his gimmick.
No,
I was
but
he
he's
just
got
came out
to
and hit a
win
guy
matches.
and then walked off.
It's
He's
because
got to win with matches.
they've realised he's got a better Superman punch than Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns is really good. This is not me digging on Roman Reigns. He's got a really good Superman punch, so now that's all he's allowed to do.
Yeah, it upsets me because he's so funny and so great. And there's
great.
so much you can do with him, right? There's so many things he can do well, and he did none of them. I don't think he even put his hands in his pockets. I don't think there was time for him to put his hands in his pockets.
No, he's got to get his squash wins in because he's losing at the pay-per-view, so he's got to get some wins on his card, mate. Because it's...
Anyway, D. Anyway, and we move on to another squash match from his mate Chuck. Chuck versus VSK. Chuck came in.
Of massage envy.
Did it like an awful waffle and then walked out or something. It was a D. It wasn't worth your time. Don't watch this match. Then we had 10 versus Daniel Joseph. It was another stomp match, and I was really bored of this now. 10 walks in and just throws him around, and then he gets pinned. Nothing interesting happens. It's a D. And then we moved on to the main event, and I was utterly disappointed.
I remember the main event being fucking awful. What was it, mate?
It was the Seidel brothers versus SCU.
Yeah, that's it.
Damn,
Completely
I hope
pointless
SCU
match.
don't lose on Dark where they would have to split up. This gimmick would be great if you only brought these guys out on matches that mattered. As soon as you bring SCU out now with this gimmick that they break up, if they lose, I've lost all interest in the match knowing that they are going to win. Matt and Mike are great wrestlers. They don't really get to show it. I know
his quiver strange.
It's a yoga mat, guys.
It's
Come on, buy in. Buy in, guys.
Invisible are out. No, he's the invisible archer, but he can't make his quiver invisible. Only bows and arrows. That's what I'm going with.
It's all setting up for Stephen Amell to come back.
Long-term booking there, Morg.
Perfect. He's gonna bring him some arrows.
So out of this Dark, because that's an awful match and gets a D from me. If I could give it lower, I would. Wait, I can. It gets an E.
Oh, I didn't explain that.
Son of a bitch.
That's how bad it is, guys. So all in all, if you wanted to watch 2 hours of Dark, don't. Just watch JD Drake versus Stu Grayson, the Acclaimed bits, Abaddon, and that's probably about it. And maybe
Guns versus Chumps.
And
you recommended the Guns.
Yeah.
And the Guns.
And to be fair, the Abaddon match is a squash match, but we allow Abaddon to have squash matches because it suits her gimmick as long as her opponent reacts correctly to her. Yeah. If she just has a squash match, it doesn't work. So, moving on from a horribly disappointing Dark, Mr. Strange, I believe it's over to you for women's matches.
Cool. I think I'm meant to start with the American side, or am I meant to start with the Japanese side?
Start with the American side. American side. I can be happier when we move on then.
No, because I think Rosa versus Riho is before Rosa versus Nyla. So it should be the Japanese side first.
Right, anyway.
Right, okay, so we open up with the third show of the Japanese women's bracket, where we get a nice, fun opening match with Emi, Veni, and Ito versus Mei, Rin, and Shida in a big
clusterfuck 6-man.
It was so fun. Did you see the smile on Shida's face?
Shida remembered she loves wrestling.
Yeah, exactly that. Ito's fucking headbutt spots and slamming her head into the turnbuckle is always fucking great.
She powers up.
We've got comedy, we've got great moments, we've got skill. Just Emi versus Rin, just wrestling was awesome. We get to see more of Benny's crazy moves, like the roll through from when she was drop kicked onto their feet. Sorry.
Yep.
Rin's really fucking high DDT on Benny. I've just got high spots here. There's a bunch of different really cool stuff. The Rolling Romero special by Emi on, I think it was on Benny, with Ito doing the singing into the headbutt was just phenomenal.
So hilarious. I love it.
She's great, honestly.
Maki choking out May and counting with the ref and then just screaming at him. May's rolling body leg scissors is just fucking cool and it works really well. The suplex, Shida loves suplexing people into other people, and I've missed that. He mirrored Cazadora backbreakers from Shida and Emi on different members of their opposing team, and then the cross-run dropkick spot. Yeah. Wonderful.
It was so good. Yeah.
The head flick spot was a bit off for me.
I loved it.
I'd have got it if Emmy hadn't sold it like she'd been chopped in the chest by Suzuki. I think that was my only issue in this match. The Sakura May and Shida double submission spot was fucking wicked. Shida and Benny were ace together in a sequence near the end. I think I'd have liked a more surprise ending, maybe. Maybe get one of the, give the heels a win, shit on Shida a little bit. But I appreciate she's back home and she's the champion. But I really enjoyed this. And this
Did you mention the double muffler?
Yeah, the double submission.
Muffler.
Yeah,
double stretch muffler.
Very rarely is a double person submission done well, and that looked wicked.
Yeah,
this is the sort of thing you get in Japanese wrestling all the time, though. The sort of after the match, everybody has a rumble. I had a really great time through this. I think this was a really fun, nice intro match. What do you boys think?
I loved how Maki kept squaring off to Shida, but she's like so much lower in power rate. She just got her ass handed to her every time. I thought that was hilarious.
You can't beat Yakuza Shida. Yeah, you can't beat Yakuza Boss Shida, which is a new evolution of Shida, I think, and I want it to stay. I need it to stay.
What do you think, Morg? You're a Joshi learner, realistically.
This was really good. I really enjoyed this. It was just so high paced. It was another one of those matches, and I believe we're going to sort of mention about that kind of thing later, where just nothing stopped.
No.
Yeah.
There was no pause.
30 minutes of just go.
Yeah, and it was so much fun. They used the 6-person match really well because it just kept on going and it didn't stop. And I've got a bit of a crush on Shida anyway, so I was quite happy with her winning.
Stay away from Yakuza Boss Shida, she's mine.
Oh Jesus, fucking!
Oh God, you fucking
weeps.
Can you at least get someone decent? Come on, there's a Mayu or a Tam. Come on.
Whoa, Julia.
Right, yes,
so we rock into Yuka versus Riho, which had an ending I did not expect, and I was remarkably happy with. Riho obviously comes through this the victor, and I don't think anybody really expected that. Yuka is the more known magical girl. Yeah, a solid wrestling start, actually. A bunch of wrist lock work stuff, which was really kind of cool. We get to see Yuka dodging under Rio's boxing elbows, and she's so smooth and such. Like, we got a bit of Yuka's shitty side with the eye poke, and I keep telling people she's not a face.
She's evil. She's just a magic girl.
Her roll through under into the leg hold.
She's so smooth.
Just so smooth. The catch and then wheelbarrow suplex on her from Riho was just a bunch of high spots again. Lifting Yuka from a submission into the powerbomb. This match is... The previous matches had got Riho over, but I think this one helped show a bit more of who and what she was. Yes. I don't necessarily think it was better than some of the previous matches, but it explained who she was a lot more.
There was better storytelling in this match.
Yeah, we got a bunch of great exchanges near the end, and whatever that final slam Riho did it was cool as shit. I don't know what it was called, but it looked really wicked. I was surprised by the ending, but I was remarkably overjoyed with it. I am a proper Riho mark out of nowhere. Could be how much she reminds me of my sister. I don't know. I really enjoyed this.
I'm really happy with this booking. As much as I am a Yuka mark, I was really happy to see Riho get, to go back to America. And it was a really good match. Like, I don't think you could have asked much more from these two. And, it's just nice to see something different going forward instead of it just being the same 4 people in AEW women. So I'm really happy.
Yeah, this was, again, this was really good. I don't really have going last. I don't have much to add, unfortunately.
Yeah, good points, boys.
Yeah, pretty much. This was really solid. I did expect Riho to win. I thought they were going to go with the stronger competitor heading in because of what I could see coming up in the future. And it was close to my original prediction when I thought it was going to be Aja Kong versus Nyla Rose in the finals, but more on what happens in the finals later. But yeah, really, really good. This whole tournament for me has been absolutely phenomenal. I've really enjoyed it. It's had one down spot in the actual tournament. And again, like we said last week, that wasn't anybody's fault. They didn't know Anna Jay was going to get injured.
But yeah, otherwise great. You got anything to add, Zach?
Nope, it's all fantastic. You've said everything I want to say. I loved it. It was great.
Okay, and the final one of this one, which was actually from the American bracket, was Riho versus Rosa, which I've actually got very few notes on.
Because it was a good match to watch, mate.
Too busy watching it, probably. Yeah.
At this point, I think this is the best match this women's tournament has had at this point in the storyline. Great wrestling start. The bigger ring really helps over the Joshi-sized ring, I'm afraid to say. It just adds a lot more, maneuverability.
I get you, but then you see some Joshis later on that we'll be talking about later, and they were kind of a bit drowned.
They're not used to it, it was really good, tight. There was a bunch of interesting stuff. Thunder Rosa and Riho were really, really good together. That drop. I've only got one move noted down because I was just fucking watching it, and that's the drop kick from Rosa to Riho in the corner was fucking
mate,
brutal. And once again, unexpected winner. I expected Riho Nyla, not Rosa Nyla. So yeah, as I said, my notes are really concise because I just thought it was dope.
Yeah, there's not much to say about this match. Go watch it.
Yeah, go watch this. It was really good wrestling.
Thunder. I'm really glad of the way they're pushing Thunder Rosa. I think she is the person to be building the division around now. Now she's turned up. She can talk. She can do everything, and I think she's your one that you want to be building the division around. Long-term storyline, as we've talked about the long-term Hangman storyline that we've got coming on. I think you've got to be looking at Thunder Rosa toppling Britt Baker at some point next year for the title.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's your baby face to build. She's your baby face to build.
There are hopes for the women's division.
It's a shame she's got such terrible music.
Yeah.
It's Cole Chambers Loco.
I'm a ska punk kid. Oh, cool, screamy music. Where's the trombones? Forget Ricky Starks. But yeah, all in all, that entire women's Japanese bracket 3, fucking cool. I'd say more. It's given me hope after years of 18 months of ripping on AEW's fucking women's division. At last. Then we roll into the American women's division, the final one of the pre-show YouTube things.
Yeah.
We open up with Liva versus Maddie Renkowski. Nothing phenomenal in this match, but Liva seems to be crisping up again. We've been a bit, I'm going to say rightfully judgmentally of Liva. She's not had the best matches. She seemed more into this than usual. I don't know if she's been training more. I do think Maddie Renkowski is possibly better than Liva.
Yes.
I agree with
and that final book slap was fucking loud. For my actual final notes, because this was just a match to fill time, I just wanted to ask Morg to say it's all right for me. That was my opinion. There we go. That's how I felt about this opening match.
Good
unless
work.
you boys have got anything
carry
to
on.
Then we moved into Hirsch versus Elise, or Elise, I forget which one it is. I should have written a little apostrophe thing on the end. Once again, solid enough, nice and clean, but nothing immense. My only real point of note was that Elise's springboard corkscrew elbow drop thing was cool. But once again, I think it's another it's all right filled in time.
It's all right.
Which makes me a bit sad because of how much I love Hirsch. But on the other hand, after these two passable matches, we did get Rosa versus Nyla. And like at the start of AEW, Nyla was one of these people we shit on a bit. And like Hangman and Dark Order, but Nyla's really fucking improved. It was a solid brawl. Nothing too massive or creative happened. But just good and solid. Nyla's head hitting the turnbuckle on that one move was a bit fucking brutal. And I don't like her diving knee finisher just because not everybody's very good at hanging on the ropes and making it look realistic.
No, and it takes far too long. It just takes too long.
That beast bomb counter to finish it where she caught Thunder out the air and fucking good enough match. But this was a good match, solid, enjoyable. Just didn't do anything which really took us out the massive expectations. But once again, this women's tournament's had the best wrestling we've seen in AEW wrestling.
So there you have it. That's the reviews up till now. Now it is time to move on to Dynamite, which means it's up to me. Open as usual, JR Schiavone Excalibur on commentary, and we opened with Cody and Red Velvet versus Shaq and Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill wins. I'll move on to what happened afterwards. What did you guys think of the match? What score did you give it?
This was better than I thought it was going to be. Did anybody not expect this to be shit? Just so I know.
Expected this to be fucking awful.
I went in with literally the lowest of hopes for the match.
Yes.
And was so pleasantly surprised.
I didn't get as I called the exact ending and pin on this and everything. Shaq walked out. He didn't even look excited to be there. He needs to emote more on his face.
Comically big, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Raptor didn't realise just how big he is till he walked out.
Fucking massive. I had a bit of a hard time judging this at the start because my wonderful partner
Cody used too many fireworks at this point.
More on that tomorrow. Yeah, it was a bit hard to judge the start of this because my wonderful partner decided she hated it in advance and that Shaq was terrible. But Shaq was passable. Don't get me wrong; he wasn't amazing, but
it wasn't great. But
I disagree with all of you on this. I think Shaq was absolutely fantastic. Like, I honestly was like, dude, is Shaq? I swear Shaq's been in a ring before. Like, he was so good for someone who had never been in a ring before.
I think he's been in a Rumble. So for years they were trying to get Shaq versus Big Show, Paul White, in WC.
Right, yeah.
That was a big thing they both wanted to do. So I think Shaq has done wrestling training before.
That would make sense.
He certainly had an idea on what's going on and gets what's going on.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. Like, really enjoyed him. Like, more than I enjoyed Jade. But there you go.
I'm the other way around. Like, as much as Shaq was doing pretty well, I can only watch him sort of turn Cody and Cody throw himself into a turnbuckle a few times. But he pulled off some chops and stuff. Yeah, I don't think he was bad. I just don't think he was better than, there. Jade did a lot better. She's got some cool moves. She was a bit clumsy in some areas, but she bought a lot of time with taunting, which is the best thing she could have done. Neither Jade nor Velvet can do tables, though. That was...
No.
Wasn't it great?
Mate,
get back in the ring, wrestle!
Jade spent ages trying to get one at perfectly 90 degrees to the table, to the ring. And then Velvet, I was watching her put it up, and I was like, she's going to be stuck between those tables. And she was.
She was?
QT come out and finish the tables for them. I forget.
Can't wait to get back in the ring and just wrestle. Get in there, wrestle!
If I had to have a thing to criticise, other than Austin Gunn randomly hitting Shaq with a chair.
Love it.
And then Shaq just fucking going up and battering randos on the side. But again, I'm seeming very critical. This was solid. Shaq's powerbomb with the dedication to Brody Lee was nice.
Yep.
He did get told off at one point for the spots the women were doing, and Shaq was stood in the middle of the hard cam ring, and you saw the ref go and tell him to move because it's like, I think fill the screen.
I think the problem. See, yes, he was told to move because he was cut. I noticed that, but I think the other problem was I think he was getting into position too early.
Yeah.
Right,
he knew what his big spot was that he had to do, and I think he got into position too early. And of course, like you say, and I said it to the Raptor that showed his inexperience because he stood right in front of the hard cam, which you don't do in wrestling.
Yeah, exactly that. Jade's Spinebuster was cool. Jade's finisher I thought looked really dope, and I liked her arrogant pin. The tables, when Shaq hit them, exploded. I've never seen wrestling tables explode before.
Exploded? It's too soon.
More on that tomorrow.
This was better than I thought, though the match was mostly Jade versus Velvet. I gave it a high C. Good story. The wrestling was good enough for me. I don't think it earned higher than a high C, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Poor Red Velvet. Poor Red Velvet. She's so wasted in this.
See,
Please give her a proper push.
now this is where I think you saw some of, not the holes in Red Velvet. I don't think that's necessarily fair, but she can't carry somebody to a good match. She's not that good yet.
She can't carry someone that's never had a wrestling match to a good match.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But that's the thing. Somebody like Shawn Michaels or even Trish Stratus, to think of a female wrestler who could do that kind of thing, or a lot of the Joshi's that you watch. She did well. She did well, but I gave it a low C. It got a C, but I gave it a low C. I didn't think Jade looked that good. To be honest, most of what my fun of it was with Shaq, to be fair, who I think looked a lot better than I expected. Jade looked a little bit sloppy. She didn't look very clean on things. I wasn't overly impressed with her, and if they're going to start pushing her to be this immense monster heel thing, Nyla needs to turn face and go and show her how it's done. But that's my opinions.
Yeah. But go on, boy. Go on, Zach. You seemed the most.
I like this match. I gave it a B.
At any point were you not? At any point in this match were you not entertained? At any point did you pull out your phone and go, oh, "I'm a bit bored of this"? Because I know I didn't.
Yeah,
I was hooked.
I take notes all the way through, like a good podcaster.
I was hooked on this. I couldn't look away. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'd give it a B. Everyone did much better than I thought they would.
This had
and Cody's got an injured shoulder.
Yeah. This had story going in, and it was a lot better than I expected from an injured Cody and two people that had never wrestled before and Red Velvet. I was expecting this to be fucking awful, and they pulled it off as best they could with what they had.
What's your rank then, Muir? This could be difficult.
B, mate.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I thought that it was solid for what it was.
Oh, we're on the judgmental side.
I'm willing to up to a straight C because I've just realised had Jade had Red Velvet not replaced Brandy, this really would have been a shit show.
Oh, could you imagine?
Wouldn't it?
Brandy got pregnant, so she didn't have to take that pin.
I love Brandy. She really couldn't have. I don't think she could have pulled the match.
No.
But still, it's a C from me.
Can we all agree Jade's finisher was cool?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Good. And then Shaq disappeared.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and then Shaq. That was my next note. And then Shaq pulls an Undertaker and just vanishes from the ambulance. So apparently Shaq has got Undertaker powers.
I just read them,
to build his stable diesel dogs.
The only problem, I'm going to actually pull a Jim Cornette on this. The only problem I've got with this is all of the crowd who saw it live saw Shaq just get out the back of the van before the camera crew came around.
Yes, mate.
And you've got very few live fans. You want to milk those? Just have them climb over the back seats into the front and something.
Yes, mate.
Well, to be fair, they couldn't close the door on his feet at first.
Yeah, I spotted that. He had to pull his legs in.
God. Anyway. Yeah,
so, between a C and a B. We'll see how the final letter maths works out.
Following on from that, Ray Fenix and Pac versus D3 and John Skyler. D squash. Fenix and Pac win.
I have one comment on this. That's that Pac did a Firebird splash for Hayabusa's 5-year death anniversary. That's my only comment.
It's nice, but
it's nice, isn't it? D.
Still D.
Then MJF and Jericho press conference with a Young Bucks interruption. What did you guys think, and did you give it a score?
I'm gonna let Zach go on this one because I thought this dragged on a bit for me, and I want to and fucking Bischoff every time. So I'm gonna let Zach give his younger, cheerful opinion.
Oh no! I don't think I have a cheerful opinion. I don't think I have a cheerful opinion on this. I'm not sure where they're going with the Inner Circle stuff, so I'm a bit apprehensive with it. Yeah. So I'm a bit apprehensive. Like they beat up his dad and they're angry, and that's all I got from this. So
I'll come in positive then. I'll come in positive.
This was the Bucks showed their weakness on the mic here, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like how we did the intros, then there was a break right after them. Brilliant. Good time in
Beautiful.
there. Just kill that hype for me.
Multi-million-pound company here, boys.
First question couldn't be heard because the guy's mic wasn't on, but Jericho covered it.
Mad.
Fortunately, Bless Jericho knew that and just repeated it. Wonderful, Jericho knows what he's doing.
So
I wasn't massively entertained from this. There was some good shit talking. It went dubsy-dub, and for some reason the Bucks decided to do over Santana and Ortiz, which seems a bit wrong.
To be fair, storyline-wise, just to defend the Bucks there, Santana and Ortiz admitted it was their idea to do over Papa Buck.
Did they?
Yes, in the promo. They specifically referenced that because the Raptor pointed it out, and she thought that was really good that they went after Santana and Ortiz.
Okay, a little bonus from that then. But otherwise, I don't know. I think the Jericho has a stage and they talk at the camera.
And then Bishop comes off again. Yeah.
It's given us some great moments and some great sort of memories. But the problem is, MJF does have a habit to linger on his timing a bit too long, and he does get reprimanded for that backstage. And we've seen it so many times now. I kind of want something a bit different, maybe. I don't know. I can't say it was bad, but this didn't get down with me.
So I can give some positives. Bucks didn't cut a very good one, but they cut a classic white meat babyface promo. That was what all that was. It was a classic white meat, boring, old school babyface promo. It's a C promo. It's not.
You know the guy,
great.
The championship holder in Southpaw Wrestling? The
Yeah.
guy who's completely bland and
no
generic.
charisma.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how the Bucks felt to me during that, mate.
Yeah, that's what I say. It was a
Yeah.
very classic, old school white meat babyface promo. I didn't think Jericho and MJF were on point.
No.
There was a bit too much, not fat shaming, but also almost fat shaming from MJF, which I appreciate. He's a heel, but it just
Gotta let heels be heels, Morg. You've got to let them be heels.
it just doesn't doesn't always work. It works better when he's sort of referencing how hunky he is.
You've got to have a heel that can go out and go, you guys are rubbish fat people sometimes, because it's a generic 80s heel. You need people to be bad so we can have the heroes beat them up.
Yeah, it just meant like you say, I think it just felt a little bit, it was just cheapy. It was a very old school 80s feeling segment.
Well, Bischoff was in it, so what do you say?
See, now I didn't mind Bischoff coming out because I liked Bischoff's question. I like Bischoff's questions and the way that he commands
Hates Jericho.
Yeah, and the way he commands, inverted commas, commands respect within this, that he always, like he did in the Orange Cassidy Jericho one, when we all thought he was brilliant.
He was, but
Yeah, it was a C for me.
Yeah, I can't really say
it was alright.
It was terrible. Yeah, it's that.
It was alright.
It's not memorable. It's just not memorable. Like all of the other times they've done these sort of bits, I remember popping and having a good time.
The OC
and
one, exactly.
Yeah, this just is very.
It's a bit too much of an inner circle thing now. I think, like Strange said, it's just become the inner circle does, and we've got another one coming up this week.
Yeah, the War Council.
Yeah,
well, I'm guessing this is going to be the end.
Let's discuss that tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, more on that tomorrow. So moving on from there, Kenny and Mox video package. Any thoughts, comments, anything else?
Got Blessed Anita, who I knew the name of before they said it all over a different show. Solid enough. Best Japanese heel legend, now a politician, selling it for him.
Yes, mate.
Kind of
building
liked
it
it.
up for him. Yeah, it was good.
Solid.
Yeah.
Anything else to add, Zach?
No.
Fair enough. It's quite all right to...
I didn't. I'm just gonna say it now. I didn't really enjoy this Dynamite at all, to be honest.
Really? It wasn't great.
Yeah, I think my scores recommend that. So, following on from that, FTR and Tully with JJ Dillon versus Jurassic Express. FTR and Tully win with the spike pile driver after interference from a masked man. We'll get on to what happens after that. Who the masked man is. What did you guys think of the match? What score did you give it?
I couldn't believe this.
I watched this live because I've never seen a man die on television before, and I thought this was the time.
Oh, you heartless bastard. Why did Tully turn up in his bowling gear?
He was a man who gives you your bowling shoes from the waist up and a matador from the waist down. At the start of this match, I turned to the missus and I was like, "You know who's in this match?" And she sort of looked at me and she went, "Oh, Tully, shit." I fucking loved this. I had a great time. I don't know if it was just through the sheer hilarity, passion of what was going on.
Yes, mate.
I was fully fucking entertained. We had a real start with Bald FTR versus Jungle Boy, and those two are great together.
Yeah.
And then my next note is, I'm just so scared he'll die. But moving on to other things, Jungle Boy sells like a bro. He makes everybody he's touch him with look fucking ace. It would be nice to see a different member after a while of Jurassic Express in the ring, because Jungle Boy took up like 90% of this match. He is the best one of them, don't get me wrong.
The other problem is, and it's certainly a backstage thing, it's certainly Jim Ross's opinion, and this isn't his necessarily, that Luchasaurus is one of the best hot tags in the business at the minute. That's one of the reasons why you get Jungle Boy doing all the sell.
Especially since he's mixed up his hot tag situation.
Yeah.
And because Jungle Boy sells so well, so it's such a good hot tag.
Yeah. One of my other notes is I want to see Tully versus Luchasaurus, and here it is. Just so good.
I think my favourite Tully moment was his psych out for the Tope Suicida when he's just started doing the flare dance.
Oh, that was awesome.
Putting in the flare walk, and I was like, yes, Tully. Also, I'd like to say, my God, what did they give the Four Horsemen to keep them all alive? You know,
Right?
Yeah.
Well,
like so many. They must have actually been the only wrestlers that actually looked after themselves, because, like, you know.
No, I think you'll find they're just preserved.
Yeah.
Pickled Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
Supermarket near you.
Them and Keith Richards, you know, just saying.
Yeah.
Right, some good things, some actually good things in this. Double suplexes still make no sense, but I love them and I'm always down for them. Beard FTR's step up DDT off the apron was pretty fucking cool. Tully's slingshot suplex was actually pretty cool, and I'm impressed. He has the physicality to pull that off at like 102 or whatever he is. Ruth predicted the pin on the ending. I was thoroughly entertained by this match and did not look away and gave it an A. That's all I've got to say. I can't really comment if it's actually technically good or anything, but I was so mystified by what was going on, I did not look away. Go on, boy, shut on it.
It kept my attention, I'm not going to lie to you. I gave it a B because I was like, fair play. This is a lot, but again, this card, when I saw it, was like, this is going to be fucking dreadful this week. And it's not the best, don't get me wrong, but they outperformed what I was expecting. This was, you know, something else. I was entertained. That's about all I can say good for it. It entertained me.
Yeah, like I expected Tully to come out and do a move and then get ushered into the corner again. But he ate some shit, and I like that. That was good. Like that was crazy. I was like, no, he'll shatter into a million pieces.
Please don't hurt him.
Did he take a tail whip? I can't remember. He took a tail
if
whip.
that kick had hit him properly, his clothes just exploded with talcum powder and hit the floor empty.
He would have just turned to dust like Thanos snapped him out of existence.
He has my respect for sure.
Yes, mate.
What'd you give it, Zach? What did you give it?
I'd probably I give it a high C. I think it's.
I think it deserves a C.
I could be biased in that that one tail whip took it, but not really. It's just a C. But yeah, I was entertained. It was a match of wrestling.
Hoping Morg's on my side. Come on, Morg.
I'm afraid not, Strange. It was a high C. C/B.
It is a high C.
It was a high C.
Jokes aside, but it was fucking bollocks, and I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it was good fun. There was lots of, and there was nice shenanigans. And then we got the reveal of the masked man. And me and the Raptor were like, well, we know this is probably... And then he did a close-up of his face underneath the mask, and I went, yep, that's Sean Spears.
Shame this is 6 months too late to ride on the hype, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit.
We were going on about Thor continuously, and then they suddenly dropped it completely, and it just fucking disappeared.
The interesting payoff was Arn Anderson in the entrance tunnel, just watching on. We're just stroking his chin in that.
Horsemen specialise in betraying roads.
Yeah, he needs to keep an eye out.
Yeah. Moving. What was our overall score in the end then?
I think I have to agree. It's a C, sadly, as much as I gave it an E. I was hoping to at least get a B out of this argument.
Following on from that, Paul White interview. Any comments, thoughts?
Right, I'm going to shit on the start of this because all of the old dudes and Thor are all walking out together. It's just been announced. And they go like, oh, Thor. Tony Schiavone walks out with a mic. And I'm like, the interview of Thor. They have the old Thor man, the other old Thor man, then you three.
Yeah.
I know, it's before my time. And then Tony was like, go on, get out of the way. It's Beeg. And I was like, oh, Beeg's here.
Get out of here, you horseman.
Literally, I was like, and I had hype for what they were going to do, and I have done nothing but shit on Thor.
Yeah.
And I had hype, and then Beeg came out, and I quite like his shirt design. No more BS. I think that's quite clever.
That's clever.
He gets one.
Yeah.
He looked very happy, but he didn't actually sort of have like any bite on the mic or anything.
No.
Tony looked really pissed off that Beeg wouldn't take the mic off him, so he had to sort of keep raising him and following his face. And then he did an announcement for an announcement, which is always my favourite. I love an announcement when they tell me there's going to be an announcement.
It's the most carny shit ever.
So that did give the maximum hype for the internet for this week. Who is the secret announced person who will be announced?
No one could have guessed.
No one could have guessed. I was wholly underwhelmed, and I was the hype for the announcement was more than any hype for Beeg being there, because he did an announcement for an announcement, and he walked over the Thor hype. I'm
D.
D, but it caused so much hype on the internet. I think it deserves a C from overall comeback.
Yeah,
but I don't know how much of that is Tony Khan and others
overhyping everything. Yeah.
I'll give it a C. It pissed me off, but it did build a lot of internet hype, so it can't be bad.
Yeah, it just seems weird when you have like all the original members of the Horsemen that are alive, apart from Rick, obviously. But and you didn't do anything with it. Woo!
So Ric Flair will be there next week. So moving on from that, we moved on to Ryo Mizunami versus Nyla Rose with Vicky Guerrero for the women's tournament final. Ryo wins with the guillotine leg drop. What did you guys think of the match? What score did you give it?
Please, Tony, can I wrestle my mate on pay-per-view?
Nyla rocking a cake ribbon around her head as she came out.
Yes, mate.
Ryo hits the ring with Big Dime's energy for her first. I know she was on All Out or whatever a year ago. Whatever. Nobody noticed when she fucking came out to that ring. She had Big Yen energy,
definitely,
and she was selling it and getting her persona over just instantly. And you guys have heard me say I fucking love her over and over again.
Ace. She is ace.
Rope taunt might have to go.
What, her Ultimate Warrior rope taunt?
I love that. Why would that have to go? No, argue yourself here. Why did it have to go?
Nyla was in the corner for a long while. She could at least only do one pull on each side. I'll accept that, but it's got to be narrowed
it's always
down.
to her detriment, though.
Yeah. No, she hit with this one. She hit after this one. This was all solid, and I was thoroughly entertained. And it looked like they were both actually having fun in the ring, and that always comes across. Nyla's land off the rope smash thing looked fucking rough, but I think they were both a bit rough with each other in this one. Guillotine leg drop is always cool.
Yes.
Nyla pulled off a rock wobble fall, and that made me laugh. I always love a bit of rock
She
selling.
did a great sell for that rock wobble. I've got that in my notes. I was like, fucking well done. That was perfect, Nyla.
Yeah. Riho, I commented on this earlier, not so good at looking like she's hanging on the ropes in the middle of the ring. She was having a proper little hold on. And then she pulls out some fucking suplexes on Nyla, which shows she's a power character. We've not... When was the last time we had somebody suplex Nyla?
I don't think we have we?
I think Shida did when she became champ.
Yeah, maybe.
I think she powered through and suplexed her, but I can't remember.
Because I was so fucking marking out at the ending, I gave it an A, but my notes even say it's a B.
It is
I
a
gave
B.
it an A.
I'm sorry. It's a good B. I really enjoyed this, but it is a B.
I enjoyed Yakuza Shida end boss at the side of the ring, just smiling and enjoying seeing her favorite wrestler perform live at ringside.
Mate, God, I love my friend.
Yeah,
this was solid.
and I love the Yakuza look. Yeah, it was a great match.
Yeah.
You and Morg are gonna have to fight over waifus. Find a computer gamer that you both like and do it.
It's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right. I've still got Io. I've still got Io Shirai. It's fine.
Io Shirai from 2016 in her stardom is so much better than WWE.
Shut up. Talk about this Joshi.
She was fantastic. She came out, she had big Neon energy, she looked the part, and this is exactly what we needed for the pay-per-view, and she's just great. And I loved the ending of it when Shida came out, turned out the trophy, and she just fucking needed her. It's perfect.
I love Anarchy.
Yeah.
The walkout was so strong.
Brother in Japanese.
Yeah, honestly.
What do you think, Morg?
So good.
So it's over to me to give my opinion. This was really good. This was my match of the night. This was a high B. I really enjoyed this match. Everything about it. The even including the bit with Shida at the end where they just leathered each other for a couple of shots. I thought that was great. And it came across as two mates just leathering each other, and I think you wanted that. Even though there's a different story going into the pay-per-view.
Yes.
But even though there's a different story going into the pay-per-view, more on that tomorrow. This is my match of the night. I really, really enjoyed this match, and made me look forward to watching the pay-per-view, which is exactly what it needed to do. And again, it was another strong match in this tournament.
Do you rank it, Zach?
Not the best. What do I rank? I'd give it an A. I would have given it an A.
Zach's with me! Great.
Yeah, I would have given it an A. It's fantastic.
Giving it an A because
I'm not really a Nyla. I'm not really a Nyla fan, but she performed very well in this match as well, doing great sells and whatnot. But yeah, from the walkout, I knew it was going to be good. Like the confidence that was imbued as both of them walked out. Like sort of emanated around the ring, I think, and really set the scene and the stage for the great match that was going to come. And they performed it. It was great. I really enjoyed it. And like you said, it gets you super excited to see the finale of it all. And yeah, it was great. A. I give it an A. Like, we didn't look away. Couldn't look away.
We're together. I'm high-fiving you. It's an A. We've got it.
Nyla, just as a side point from Nyla, it's something I've commented on before, certainly to the Raptor when we've been watching, is the thing about Nyla is she's good. She's not got that. You put Nyla with someone good, she will have a phenomenal match. I think all of our best women's matches, off the top of my head, the really top ones that I can think of that we have had Nyla Rose and somebody else who's really good. She's got someone who can work, then she will have a phenomenal match. And it's not that they're carrying her. It's just she will have a really good match.
She can't carry somebody who isn't that good.
But she can't carry somebody. Yeah. So following on from that, Sting ring interview, Ricky Starks interrupts, usual shenanigans. That is my exact notes.
Which Stang was this?
This pissed me off. I'm sorry. It's when Starks came out and said he wasn't. He might be good, but he's not an icon and stuff. I thought this was going to be some kind of Stark shifts and joins their team sort of promo. And I was down with it from how he started like complimenting and stuff. And I thought that could make it like
interesting.
Hobbs and Cage versus Darby, Starks and Sting. and I was really excited, but instead Sting just beat him up.
Yeah, because why
Hey.
would you?
I'm so bored of seeing it.
Hey.
I'm so bored. Meant to be underdogs going into this pay-per-view fight.
Yeah.
Apparently, they've only beat them. D. Sorry.
So, moving on. Does anybody else want to add anything to that?
D.
I really enjoy seeing Starks say anything at any time.
Legit.
He's just really enthusiastic and charismatic. So anytime he's on the mic, I enjoy it. Even if you are right with the comments of it didn't really fit the underdog story going in, and we've had enough of it, I still enjoy Starks every time he comes out. Even if not just to see what shirt he's wearing this week.
Starks is one, and he always gets knocked out of his shoes.
Yes.
I think the problem that we've had along this is the fact that Sting is such a big name. He is probably actually, if you're being honest, the biggest name they've got certainly to a Western audience that wrestles. I'd say Sting is still actually a bigger name from historic. He is WCW's Undertaker.
Yeah, but the problem is, Morg, you're already talking to old dudes like us.
Yeah,
Gronk.
But that's I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it's a thing.
He's definitely their oldest notable name they've got.
JR.
He's not a wrestler, but he's not a wrestler. He doesn't.
Yeah,
He doesn't. You don't. You know, he might draw people to listen, but you don't draw people to watch.
Dust.
Oh, fuck off.
Get in the bin, Strange.
Fuck off.
I knew more about Goldust than I knew about Sting. I didn't have Sky TV. I couldn't watch Dubsy Dub as a kid. I only discovered Sting when he was in TNA.
That's fair.
In like
Are you
2008.
guys talking about Seven?
Yeah, that's the pedo gimmick.
Yes.
A gimmick so bad he dropped it mid-show.
Right, anyway.
Let's move on.
Landering.
10 versus Max Caster. Max Caster wins after Jack Evans hits 10 with the boombox. Thoughts and
Are you saying,
scores?
oh God, Nick?
Oh, God.
For shit.
I like the story.
No, I was just I just remembered the fucking quote that he said about Lady Gaga's dog walk.
Yes.
Fuck,
That man has no chill. He has no chill.
My
He's the edgy teal going.
Best thing about his rap, and I'm about to complain about Scorpio Sky, but Scorpio Sky said after he'd rapped, I hate rap music now. The West Texans were right. That made me laugh.
Great.
And then Scorpio Sky talked about himself for the entire match on commentary. And I normally ignore commentary. I know Morg's more of a commentary listener than me.
You can tell.
Every time something happened in the ring, oh, that was a good move. I could do a better move. Oh, he's a big guy, can't beat me. Every single fucking thing. And I normally like Scorpio.
He fucking buried himself, didn't he?
Onto the actual match.
Yeah.
It was all smooth and clean, even though Caster ate shit for most of it until the turnaround, obviously. And then Caster got given a bunch of the slow work stuff during the break, but we did get limb work, and there was backstory explained about Ten's injury, and we got to see it. I did wish they'd talk about the match and not Scorpio. That's in my notes again. I really like Ten's ripcord cutter. I think that's cool. Normally, ripcord moves look a bit shit.
Correct.
Picked up post-break, a bit of nice stuff from both guys. Jack Evans coming in and cheating. I kind of wish it sort of explained that Matt Hardy was doing it to take out the Dark Order, because that was meant to be the plot, because some of the matches got pulled, and Matt is taking out all of the Dark Order for stealing Hangman. Instead, it just looks like Jack Evans came out to cheat for another team for Matt Hardy for some reason, like he's collecting young tag teams. Overall, this was an okay match. The wrestling was solid. I think if I hadn't been listening to Scorpio Sky just talking about himself over and over again, I'd have given it a higher rating, but I gave it a passing C. I'm going to ask for my favourite Morg sound bites.
It's all right.
There we go. That's my thoughts.
I don't think you can... Yeah, Scorpio Sky ruined this for me, but, I like Scorpio Sky, but it was just like, oh, wow, you're just burying the talent. Please, even, when Jericho's on comms, he's always building up the talent, even though he said, oh, he's awful, but that move's really good that he's got, and we've got to watch out for that, and, standard heel stuff, and yeah, he just sounded like a heel. But I'm pretty sure that Scorpio Sky's meant to be a face.
He's an arrogant.
I think you're missing, and I'm quite shocked. I think you've both missed the point. This was Scorpio Sky's heel turn. This is what this was. This was Scorpio Sky turning heel. He came across as an arrogant dick. And I don't think he necessarily buried the talent. I think he talked about how great he was. You're right, though, with it being distracting on commentary. And now you both know how I felt when Eddie did commentary for those 2 weeks. Yeah, this is exactly how I felt when Eddie did commentary for those 2 weeks.
Eddie's got a cool voice.
No, sorry. Scorpio Sky did a great job of turning heel in this. It distracted from the match. You both hated him for it. And you two are very smart.
Vince. That's a proper Vince McMahon booking there. Oh, this guy's hated. Let's get Adam Cole to talk more. That'll keep the fans wanting to watch.
It's done its job. You didn't like it.
Yeah, but I'm likely to turn off the show.
He's got Baron Corbin heat with me.
Yeah,
he's not got
exactly.
He's not got MJF heat. He's got Baron Corbin heat.
Go away.
What did you think of the match, though, Morg?
C.
It was solid. Yeah, it was a
C.
Yeah.
It was a C.
I enjoyed it a lot, and I think maybe I'm a bit more invested
in the
in the
storyline.
plotline.
Yeah.
Than more people. So I got it straight away when they came out and messed with the match. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I would say it is only a C though, but it was a high C in my opinion. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Ruth was mad that 10 didn't win, and I was like, he can't carry a full match. I'm sorry.
I also didn't get caught up in the commentary. I think maybe I zoned out. Maybe that's what it was.
Normally I do. Normally I ignore them, and these guys like, oh, the commentary said this, and I'm like, I have no idea, but I just continuously heard shit talking.
Maybe it's because I'm so used to ignoring anything Anthony Ogogo says, so I was able to zone out.
You just got learned to zone out.
It's the punishment for doing dark. Finally works out to be an advantage.
Oh god. Right. Where are we going, boys?
Miro promo. Thoughts? Anything?
Why was he in a shed? Has he gone back to Eastern Europe?
Oh, hey. Jesus Christ, that's Midlands of you there, mate.
He fled. Bulgaria.
Hey, I resemble that comment.
You leave the Midlands alone. It's wonderful. I lived in a shed for a while. I've never actually lived in a shed. I know that's actually plausible with my backstory. I should replay it. I've never lived in a shed.
Right, anyway, Miro's fucking promo. It was
Don't
solid.
remember it.
I do like how Miro loves Chuck,
Yeah, that's great. I hope he
I'm ready to join him. Come on.
best kidnap Chuck and like keep him in the future, like protect him.
Misery style.
Yeah, I'd be down for that plot.
It'd be great. But yeah,
Miro's character's really starting to come across a bit better, and he's starting to develop into, I guess, not the gamer, but I'm okay with that. Like, he's just a shitlord, and I kind of like that anyway. Like, yeah.
The sooner they drop the gamer gimmick with him, the gamer gimmick only really worked if he was a face. That's the problem.
Yeah, it was a weird one. It was like him and Kip both play computer games. Lots of people play computer games.
And
go and
they're
watch.
The biggest medium in the world.
Go and watch their Twitch and YouTube channels where they're both really entertaining and come across as really nice guys.
Heels.
This really doesn't work for their characters. Yeah. That was I think that was been the problem with this, is they've gone, oh, he's got a really popular YouTube channel, and he's got a really popular Twitch channel. Brilliant. We'll make them gamers. That'll be their gimmick. The problem is they're both really entertaining nice guys on that, where they say thank you to everyone, and Miro comes across as being absolutely lovely. Probably needed him to be a monster face.
Oh well.
Like I booked him. So, moving on, Matt Hardy and Mark Quinn versus John Silver and Hangman. Page wins. I'll get onto the shenanigans afterwards. So, Page wins. What did you think of the match, and what score did you give the match?
His lower third said AdamPageWrestling.com that I meant to look up for our social media section, but I've completely forgotten it until this note here. This was good. not great. Some good moments. Silver hugging Hangman when he went into him at the start gave me a lol. Gwen getting the height on the fucking backdrops he took was ludicrous. And the 2-man body backdrop with the somersault was crazy. Tony Schiavone and JR have to call John Silver, not fucking Hungy. They said it like 7 million times in the match. Silver obviously ate a lot of shit in this match, but not as much as Gwen, who ate all of the shit. I really like the fact that every time Hangman got in the ring, he focused on Matt at his own expense. That's very in keeping with his character. That's cost him matches in the past, and they stuck with that. Hangman did that catch into the Death Valley Driver again, and it's fucking great. I'm glad he's added that to his repertoire. Brilliant slip out of the Twist of Fate by Paige. And a bunch of really cool, smooth stuff in this. Silver's kicks are the fucking best/joint best. Hangman Silver sequence.
They're the frog's pussy.
They're the frog's pussy. Hangman Silver sequence is good, but it's not as good as the Reynolds Silver sequence. I'm sorry. It just doesn't quite land as well as the cool pin thing at the end. This was good, and I enjoyed it, but I just don't think it's worth higher than a high C.
Totally agree. High C. I don't think I've got anything else to add to that. High C is what I gave it.
I have to agree as well, and I am a massive fanboy of these two and their plot lines.
This wasn't what it could have been.
Yeah.
It didn't pop. It hasn't popped like they have in the past.
Wasn't this meant to be the 5-man tag, though? 10-man tag, sorry.
Yeah, I'm guessing they got a bunch of travel there. This was meant to be Matt Hardy takes out all of the Dark Order, so Hangman will be good and angry for the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But it looks like they just couldn't do it, or people couldn't make it, or wrestling's a fucking
nightmare at the moment.
So yeah. Instead, we got it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
But C is good. It had story, it had good wrestling, it had comedy, because Hangman and Silver can't make it through a match without comedy. It had some fucking backdrops I've never seen the height on, but it just wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
So then, Matt Hardy jumps Paige, Dark Order for the save, then all the Casino Tag Team Battle Royale entrants run in, and and then Death Triangle are the only ones who get music and come in last, and we go off air.
I wonder what that could be symbolising.
I have no idea.
I have 2 notes. My notes are 100,000% Dubsy Dub. I just wrote down a bunch of zeros, and that happens to be the number. And why is this happening? Why did they all run? Like, I appreciate a good Dubsy Dub Rumble. I appreciate a good fight. But it was all the tag teams for the big tag match, but none of the, like, I know Silver and Reynolds were in that tag match, but they weren't together. Some of the other, it didn't seem to have the reason for such a big kickoff to me.
It should have been 2 groups fighting, like the Dark Order and Matt's group fighting, and then some other team that had beef with Matt's group come out, and then a team that has beef with them comes out and sort of merges into one big fight by the end of it, instead of just everybody turns up. Let's go, boys! You know? Yeah. But anyway, Stubsy Dub, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
did anybody explain why that happened? Just out of
They did say it. They did, because that's why it's in my notes that it was all the teams from the Casino Tag, which I'd forgotten was happening.
Yeah, me too. To be honest with you,
they do like a tag team rumble.
To remind you.
Yeah, does its job? Did its job? So, Mr. Strange using the power of science.
Mate,
what's our overall?
It's a C. Like, I've got. There are, out of like 15 letters, only 3 that aren't C's. It was a good show. We had a good time.
I think they could have done better for a go-home show.
That was what I was about to say. It's a bit disappointing, and especially considering that I think we've had solid B's for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. And normally their go-home shows are something, a bit.
Well,
more.
I was about to say, are they? Is this not the second time we've had quite a disappointing?
I'm pretty sure you're right, actually, Morg. I think I'm talking shit. Yeah, I think you're right.
We keep having go-home shows that are very underwhelming.
Yeah, like the end of this didn't
ring a bell.
No.
Yeah.
At all.
So there you go, A-dubs. Maybe stop having pay-per-views and just have shows.
More on that tomorrow. Yeah. More on that tomorrow.
So there you have it. That's our review for the week. If you have any questions for us, you can send those questions to wrestleopinionated@gmail.com, WrestleOP on Facebook, WrestleOP1 on Twitter. You might want to get us to run a favourite match. You might want to give us something to rant about. We're not going to do our favourite match this week because we have watched so much wrestling that we didn't even want to watch an absolutely phenomenal S-tier match.
No. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, it's perfectly acceptable. So, very quickly before we sign off. On Dark 2...
Yes.
Lance Archer and Jake Roberts came out and cut a promo that was a massively dickish heel promo. So this is my thing that has actually annoyed me. No, we have spent the last 3 weeks building up the fact that Lance Archer is finally going to be the thing I've wanted in AEW fucking ages, a monster face. A few weeks ago, Pac and Phoenix and the rest of Death Triangle had been doing pretty much the face thing. They had been saving the main baby face. They had been hanging out with, yes, he's a tweener face. He's a badass face with Mox, hanging out with. And then we had that sudden match with Pac where Pac was just an absolute dick heel. And we saw the same thing tonight. Make your fucking... I know you've just signed the Big Show. Yeah, but you don't need to keep having whiplash face heel turns or maybe looking like you're going to turn them face and then don't turn them face. If you're going to turn them face, let me get invested in the characters. If you're going to, if Scorpio Sky turns up next week and starts being particularly nice to everybody, Swole also cut a promo this week that looked to me like a heel turn promo. I appreciate that earlier when we were talking about it, Zach wasn't in agreement with me, but to me that was a heel. I don't want to see Swole coming out being all lovely and saving Thunder Rosa from a beatdown again. If you're going to do a heel turn or a face turn, just fucking stick with it and commit, especially when it's actually working. As the person in this group who's particularly prefers the faces, I was really looking forward to these, and I've been looking forward to some heel turns. Private Party turning heel was really good, but are they going to come out next week and now we're going to be all lovely and face?
Just wish we had some proper heels. I kind of want to watch this promo now, just because the only heels I've realistically been given are Private Party, and I don't care for Matt Hardy's story.
Hopefully. Talking tomorrow, we've got a decent heel finally turn up on AEW, so, we're fine. We're saved, boys.
Is that the surprise heel turn in the tag team royal?
No,
it's a surprise face turn in the tag team royal.
Yeah, fucking lads. Anyway,
I cheered.
I did too.
So anyway, that's my rant. Yeah, AEW, stop fucking about, commit. Want to say thank you very much to Anchor.fm for hosting the podcast. If you want to find us, we are Wrestleopinionated on YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor.fm. Over to you, Zach.
Yes, thank you very much for listening. It's been great, and hopefully you'll come back and listen to us rant about more crap. And over to you, Nick.
Thank you very much for listening. It's always a pleasure. And thank you very much to if you'd like to send anything in, please send it into WrestleOpinionated@gmail.com, WrestleOP on Facebook, WrestleOP1 on Twitter, and watch Mayu versus Julia hair versus hair match. Over to you, Strange.
Isn't it Tam versus
Tam?
Julia
Fuck's sake! Bloody hell, my brain's gone. Too much wrestling.
Jesus fucking Christ!
I can't even get my wife moves right.
Do my heel turn, Morg. This is my podcast heel turn. Thank you for listening. We do appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe, hit that little bell button. If you can leave a comment, do that. Every little bit helps. Share this to your friends who like wrestling. We appreciate you spending your time and listening to us. Sorry, I've wrecked Muir, our weeb king, who can't even remember the name of the
two wrestlers.
Only if we're talking animos. I'm an anime weeb.
Anyway.
Watch Jujutsu Kaisen, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Back to you, Morg.
So yeah, if this is going to be your heel turn, Strange, fucking commit. All that's left to be said. All that's left to be said is goodbye and good night.